On December 26, 1896, about 8 o'clock in the morning, the court-martial of Rizal commenced.
Strictly speaking, Rizal is not guilty because he never gave his consent, and the rebels did not need it. Thus, the sentence and penalties demanded by the prosecution cannot be imposed. The only possible verdict we cannot play in strict pursuit for justice is not guilty. Banish from your minds images of the beloved companions slain and remain by wretch, traitors of noble, matrons and innocent maidens brutality violated, of mothers, wives, daughters, and sisters who worship the memory of their brave men who fight in courage, men who violently die, in order to keep immaculate glory and honor of Spain. They praise the God of mercy that Divi would not accuse sentiment of revenge. Leave that to those who march in battle. I therefore pray, gentlemen of this court, let us judge Dr. Rizal Mercado y Alonso not for the sake of vengeance, but solely for the sake of justice. The defense rests.
Does the accused wants to add anything in his defense?
Concerning the rebellion, since 1892, I have not engaged in politics until June 1 of this year. When Dr. Valenzuela came to notify me about an uprising, thus proving that I had no contact with them, for if there I were in touch, I would have already known about such a grave matter about an uprising. Another negative proof is that they not hold any single letter from me. They exploited my name most cruelly and in the most last moment schemed to take me by surprise. Why did they not contact me earlier? Possibly because they know that I, although less contented, was resigned about my exile, and I refused to consider many various schemes to escape from the Pitan. I was resigned to being an exile, not for the alleged reasons, which are false, but rather because I had the chance to write. Concerning my conduct during those 4 years, you might verify the military governor of the district. The townspeople and the missionary fathers, even one with whom I had personal differences, who came to see me in the Pitan, persons totally unknown to me. Why not send someone from I may know in whom I had trust and confidence? Because my friends know that I have abandoned politics. They are aware of my views of rebellion. I would rule out of this futile and discreditable mission. All I desire for my country is liberty. But the only way to realize it is not through a revolution, but through education.
On December 28, 1896, after Rizal trials before a Spanish military court martial, Governor General Camilo de Polavieja and Captain Rafael Dominguez signed the document confirming the death sentence of Jose Rizal scheduled on December 30, 1896 at Bagumbayan Falls.
Este Tribunal Condero, Don Jose Rizal Mercado y Alonso con la pena de muerte. Así decretado y ordenado por el Tribunal Ordinario, marshal del cargo como testigo por el presidente y los miembros del tribunal.
This tribunal condemned Dr. Jose Rizal Mercado y Alonso with the penalty of death, so decreed and ordered by the ordinary court martial of the falls as witnessed by the president and members of the tribunal. Meanwhile, at Dr. Jose Rizal prison cell, Lieutenant Andre tries to argue with him on the outcome of the case and speak.
Kudos.
This is my first time to hear your other words, Taviel. It appears you're good at it.
Damn them. What happened is unjust. We're not even given the chance to cross-examine. It was a mock trial. They deceived us. They used us.
Don't worry, as I was been sentenced to death.
I don't know how you can joke about this. I had it. I will resign from my post. I'm going back to Spain. I'm so ashamed. I'm terribly ashamed.
But why?
Because I'm Spaniard.
A moment of silence comes across between the two, and Rizal stand up to pat Lieutenant Android on his right shoulder and spoke.
You're not a Spaniard, Taviel. We're just the same.
Meanwhile, at the gathering of the Kikiki, Andres Bonifacio exclaimed,
We are going to invade the Spaniards in the soonest time possible. We shall save Dr. Rizal. All hail Dr. Jose Rizal.
All hail Dr. Jose Rizal! All hail Dr. Jose Rizal! Wait, please calm down. The security over my brother is needed. The Spanish are prepared for any plans to save my brother.
And so are we. We're not scared of death. Magnaye-Dona spelled death for Dr. Jose Rizal.
Please calm down. Even I want to save my dearest brother Jose Rizal, but Jose Rizal himself don't want us to risk our lives defenseless from Spaniard. Pipi's fate lies now in the hands of God. We can't do anything else about that.
On December 29, 1896, at 12 a.m., after the visit of the Jesuit, Rizal was left alone in his cell. He was busy writing his last letter to Professor Blumentritt. When you receive this, I shall be dead. Tomorrow at 7, I shall be shot. But I am not guilty on the crime of rebellion. I shall die with a clean conscience. Goodbye, my best friend and dearest friend. On December 29, 1896 at 4 p.m., Dr. Jose Rizal was then taken to the chapel, where he was to await the dawn of the day that would bring his death. Since then, visitors come to see him before his distant death.
Rizal then stands up and looks onto his window as his mother arrive and speak.
Nay, mano po, Nay?
Rizal kneels down and kisses the hand of his mother.
No!
Doña Teodora stands grieving while Rizal continues as his mom looks at him. Both of them start to shed tears in their eyes and the guard forces them to separate each other.
Mother, when I die, please ask for my dead body right away, because they might throw it anywhere. Bury me underground, then place a rock and cross on my burial ground with my name. The date of my birth and death, that will be all, Mother. No other else. If you want to put fence around you, you may do so. No anniversaries.
Then, Trinidad came in, and Jose Rizal handed over to her gift and said,
I received this from Padre Taveras. There is something inside.
Trinidad walked out with her mother. Later on, the family found what Rizal meant was gone and read it. It was the hero's farewell poem, which was smuggled successfully out his prison area and which soon became a priceless gem in the Philippines literature.
December 30, 1896, 5:30 a.m. After Rizal heard Mass, confessed his sins, and took Holy Communion, it was then on that he started to write letters, particularly to his family, to his dear brother Paciano, which reads,
My dear brother, for more than 4 years, we have neither seen nor written each other, not for lack of love on your part nor mine. but because knowing each other as we do, we needed two words to understand each other. I am about to die. I dedicated these lines to you, to tell you how sorry I am to leave you alone in this world, bearing the burden of the whole family and the old parents. I think of the hardship you went through to help me to my career, and I believe to try my best to waste no time. My brother, if the fruit is bitter, the fruit is not my mind, but faith. To my family, I ask you forgiveness for the pain I caused you, but someday I shall have to die, and it is better that I die now in the plenitude of my conscience. Dear parents, brother and sister, give thanks to God that I may preserve my tranquility before my death. I die resigned, hoping that with my death you will be live in peace. It is better to die than to live suffering. Quickly, after Jose Rizal was visited by his mother on the next day at 5:30 a.m., then came Bracken.
Josephine, this is for you.
Then, Josephine and Josefa came out bringing with them the book entitled Imitation of Christ by Thomas Kempis.
Dr. Jose Rizal wears his black suit and his black bowler hat. Lieutenant Andrade arrives and the guards tied his arms behind his back.
Don't worry. Don't be afraid. I am just here for you. For you so that you'll not forget me.
Thank you.
They must have thought that I'll escape. Where? In the pitan?
The march towards the place began. The group passes by the Postigo gate out to the Paseo de Maria Cristina. Rizal turned his head several times to take a last look at familiar seats he was leaving behind and explained. He marked the press.
Christ must have suffered more. Is that the Ateneo? I've spent the happiest years in my life there.
To humiliate him further, a firing squad composed of the Filipino soldier had been ordered to do shooting behind the Indios stood a line of the Spanish soldiers, ready to ensure with their rifles that the Filipino soldier to do their job. A few seconds before the order to shoot was given, the military surgeon felt Rizal pulse. It was astonishingly normal for a man who had only a few to live and knew it.
I have not a traitor to my country, nor to the Spanish country. My last request, let me face the firing squad.
Impossible.
Or at least, spare my
Rizal
life.
lifts his right hand to handshake with Lieutenant Andrade. Lieutenant Andrade holds his hand and his shoulder firmly as if it was another form of saying thank you and goodbye. The accompanying group of Rizal then distances themselves towards the crowd and an announcer then speaks.
El nombre del rey de España, cualquier persona que levanta lobos en favor de la penal, también se ejecutar.
In the name of the King of Spain, anyone who raises his voice in favor of the criminal will be executed.
Listo! Cargar! Estable, sir!
Tomato mess!
Luego!
¡Viva España!